Yes. Breach, a violation or infraction of a law, obligation, or agreement, especially of an official duty or legal obligation, whether by neglect, refusal, resistance, or inaction. Ooh. Now, obviously, you've neglected to enforce the exculpatory laws. Yes. And you've done what? Oh, you've refused. Yes. For 3 years and 3 months. You've resisted, and then you've done the inaction. Yes. Well, we just need him to stay at the emergency bed one more night so I can console myself. But there I am, laying in bed, yes, watching irreconcilable differences, and you decided to witch the television. Now, I noticed the escalation in my voice when I was making the recording. Yeah. Did somebody say they were going to take my mouth? Poop. Did you? You decided to magnetize my teeth. You wanted to take my brains. Oh, you wanted me to not remember. Yes, that in the Peninsula Daily News, that there is an obligation. An obligation. Yes. Now, did you not get the email yesterday? Ouch. Well, now it's a breach of obligation and duty for law enforcement. Yeah. Now, I'm just wanting to make sure that we understand, yes, that I do want you to do what you're required to do. Material, partial, passive, repudiatory, total breach, breach of contract for which the remedial rights provided by law are substituted for all existing contractual rights. Breach of covenant, the violation of an express or implied promise, usually in a contract. Yes. Breach of duty, the violation of a legal or moral obligation, the failure to act as the law obligates one to act, especially as a fiduciary's violation of an obligation owed to another. See, negligence, ouch, the breach of duty to care, poop. Negligence that results in a foreseeable injury that would not have occurred but for the negligent person's action. Yesterday I mentioned that I wouldn't have been on trial in Brennan. I wouldn't have gotten arrested in the library. Yes. I wouldn't have spent the last 3 years and 3 months if you had admitted the evidence that I wasn't in Squim. Because then I could have had my public defender, yes, motion the court to have the protection order removed that the petitioner didn't sign. I would have had custody of my sons for the last 3 years and 3 months. I would have sued you then, ouch, as I'm going to sue you now. But now there's probably hundreds of additional lawsuits. I involved the whole nation. Breach of loyalty, an act that is detrimental to the interests of someone to whom a fiduciary duty is owed. Oh, now I did look at this fiduciary duty. Yes. Let's say Foursquare. Yeah. Just would not press charges against one of their pastors. Yes. And one of their licensed pastors happened to be married to the other pastor. Yes. And they would not press charges for Class C felony, the color of deception. Now I'm saying that your fiduciary obligation, you violated that, and it's a breach of the actual ordination of Mike Van Proy and Pouch. Now Foursquare, I know you say you're out of money right now, but you're not. Now, for every employee of the Foursquare denomination that thought I was being really mean to them, I dislike the thought of my sister, Susan Bowers, yes, being deceptively, oops, look at here. Let's see here. There's a picture of this in the email. Yes. By the color or aid of deception. Creates or confirms another's false impression that Susan Bowers is a licensed minister in the Foursquare denomination. You're getting sued. Prevents another from acquiring information material to the disposition of the property involved. Fails to correct another's impression which the actor previously has created or confirmed. I think it's quite an impression. Yes. It looks like a picture of my sister Susan Bowers. Yes. Somebody that I thought Marilyn could sue. Yes. But now I can sue her denomination right now for refusing to enforce their fiduciary obligation to press charges against those that they ordain, yes, for any knowledge of any crime. Oh, uh-oh, woe is you, Foursquare denomination. Looks like you're going to be blessed. Poor. Suffering. Well, won't you feel blessed as a denomination? Did you all decide you're going to go the way? You have breached your fiduciary obligation and breached the loyalty of the denomination, yes, when you didn't enforce Marilyn Van Proyen's rights. Is there another church that's concerned about this? Pope. You know, these churches that say that, well, we do background checks and we're not legally liable for any knowledge of child abuse or child abduction. Yes, we are not legally liable for knowing that somebody went to jail when we know they weren't guilty of any crime. We are not legally liable for the decision making of other. Well, Assembly of Gods, it's Paul. How's Northwest University? You dumb fucks are getting sued. Now you get to be blessed too. Because I wanted you to understand I will take that campus and every institution of the Assembly of Gods. Why don't you give me all of those assets that are in the foundation or trust? Yes. Or any of those time deposits of those that wanted to receive the annuity benefits of him. Why don't you give me the actual assets right now? Poop. I'm telling you, I'll take every. Well, Mr. Wood, President of the Assembly Gods of the United States, it's Paul Budnick. Didn't you know how you could be blessed? It's time for me to receive the consolation. You're going to be so blessed. Have you not been reading your Bible as a president of the Assembly of Gods of the United States of America? Why don't you get me all the pastors of the Assembly of Gods? Because as a graduate of Northwest University, I'm going to sue you for refusing to enforce. Well, I know you're going to be blessed. Woe is unto me as I take your fucking assets because I got to.